Hello and welcome back everyone to the Corporate Sustainability Education channel. We are the home of educational podcasts designed to help businesses in the pursuit of the reduction of their carbon impact. And we try to stream a new podcast for you every Friday. Now, I think I speak for everyone who works in this space that the pandemic really has brought with it an idea that we've gone back decades really in the acceptance of single-use plastic. And I'm thinking about that when I look at hygiene products, when I look at COVID-19 testing products. I mean, I had somebody show me one of those a few days ago, and it's endless packaging and plastic. And also, of course, the so-called non-recyclable face masks. And I've never found one that is recyclable. So, but that said, businesses around the country have obviously been forced to look into their hygiene much more closely, which I guess isn't a bad thing, both in the workplace and also where they introduce their customers to the workplace. So we thought to ourselves, in this podcast, we need to go out and find some alternative solutions for you. Are there any alternative solutions? So we did some digging. And we were really, really surprised and pleased to find a company, a new company, that offer an alternative to hand sanitization. Now, obviously, hand sanitizers are one of the most important tools in our arsenals when it comes to stopping the spread, holding back the spread of this pandemic. So that's fantastic news. But when we use them, we pretty much know what we're getting, or maybe I say you can smell what you're getting. So when it comes to our sustainability strategies, we probably know it's not good news. So we're really delighted to be able to introduce to you John Quinn and Andrew Lee, who are going to talk to us about the company Steriport Systems. So John, welcome. Andrew, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. And I have to say, this is a first for the channel. We've never hosted two people at the same time. The more the merrier, of course. So let's get into it. So hand sanitizers, we've never seen so many of them. We've never used so many of them. But as I've alluded, we know they probably wouldn't stand up to much scrutiny. So what makes Steriport so different? And Andrew, I think you're maybe best placed to talk about the composition of the product itself. So can we start with that, please?
Yes, of course. I should say to start with that the solution that we have is not new technology. The hand sanitizer that everybody's used to is based on alcohol. It smells like alcohol. It damages your skin as alcohol does. It's not very pleasant, and it might come as a surprise to realize that it's actually not even that good as a disinfection solution. For about 10 years now, I've been promoting a water-based hand sanitizer. It uses a very small percentage of chemical to do the sterilization. It's safe on your hands. It can be scented, so it doesn't have to smell like cheap tequila. And yeah, it's just all around a better product. But unfortunately, during the pandemic, the government wanted a simple message, and everybody knew about alcohol hand sanitizer. So that's pretty much what everybody was told to get.
So here we go, back to nature, of course, water-based, who'd have thought? So Andrew, coming to you again, it must go without saying that when any product's introduced to the market, you have to go through lots of hoops to get it to where it needs to be. So is that the same for the product that you bring to ensure it's approved and fit for purpose?
Every chemical product has to go through the same testing. So you have the British standard and European standard testing, the BSEN tests. Doesn't matter whether it's an alcohol-based product or it's an alcohol-free product, they still have to go through the same test to show that they tackle particular viruses, spores, bacteria, fungus. And whilst the BSEN test 14476, which is the one that most people are interested in because it's one that shows that a product is effective against coronavirus, alcohol sanitizers do pass that test, but that's about it as far as viruses go. They're not very good at tackling high-end viruses such as norovirus, where they are completely useless. So we have probably more test results than any hand sanitizer product on the market. So we're very confident in our certifications.
Wow, fantastic. Okay, John. Now, even with the best intentions, when you look at hand sanitization in a public place, I always think when I move forward to use a hand sanitizer that, you know, that obviously lots of people are using that same pump to use it. So that always crosses my mind. I don't know if it crosses anyone else's mind or if that's just me. So how do you overcome an issue like that? Or do you
Well, I'm the
need
same.
to?
I'm actually very similar to you, Linda. I don't like to touch anything that's been touched by somebody else, and that's not just a current coronavirus thing. That's just me, you know. And you know, we were subjected to putting our hands onto a plastic dispenser to essentially put, you know, as Andrew said, tequila smelling alcohol in your hands when you were going into a shop. And there's cheap solutions out there. Most people do not want to touch them. I think that's got a little bit better over the last 6, 7, 9 months, and there are solutions out there in shops, for example, that are now touchless. You know, we've been touchless since inception. A sensor is in our machine. You don't need to touch any plastic, and it doesn't spray you with alcohol. So all of our machines are touchless.
Okay, so you say machine. Let's get into that then. I know how you dispense your products. You call them totems. So do they operate? How do they operate? And what level of ratio of people can each product sanitize, for example, each totem?
Yeah, it's a really interesting area, this, because we set out from the word go about a year ago to make this machine extremely professional and fit for purpose. Frankly, most of the solutions that have been deployed based upon what the government have told retailers and companies to do, and that is put some sort of dispenser either on a pole or on a table that will dispense on people's hands. The fact is, our product is engineered from within to provide a foam-based solution. So we aerate foam as a water-based liquid. So it's not sticky, it's not jelly, it doesn't smell. Although we do have a range of sanitizers that have fragrances, and we can come on to that later, but our machines are engineered to do between 9,000 and 10,000 sets of hands in one 3.5 litre tank. So we provide a full managed service around those totems because companies were asking for it, and there's a number of reasons because of that. Now, mostly because they have to keep filling them up, and that's somebody's job. And also with alcohol, it's also somebody's job to make sure that it's safe, and having half a ton of alcohol in a broom cupboard in your company office is not safe. So there's a whole load of things we could get into on that, but we've engineered the machines to be, as I say, alcohol free, touchless, and do 9,000 to 10,000 sets of hands, and that is extremely cost effective, and we could come on to that as well.
Yeah, I'm glad, John, that you've actually touched on the safety aspect of it, not just from a health perspective, but obviously, as you just said, it's interesting to cover that. Andrew, if I could come back to you, obviously, I think I did read somewhere, and I guess it's not something I've thought about before. Is there a difference in the length of time that your hand sanitization product would protect someone as opposed to a more traditional? I never really thought about the length of time once you have that on your hand, how long that process would be, really.
There has been a problem within our industry for many years where bacteria, viruses, fungus, they're conflated and they're just called germs. And the truth is they're very different pathogens. There are many products out there that claim to last for hours after a single use. I think the longest is about 6 hours on your hands. I think there's one that claims they protect for 24 hours. But when you look into the details of what they're claiming, you inevitably find that they're only talking about bacteria and not viruses, certainly not fungus. So if a product says that it protects you for a day, it's probably only referring to bacteria, which is good. If you're concerned about bacteria, it's still a good thing to have. But most people are concerned about viruses now. And to me, certainly, this is a form of misinformation. Saying you protect someone for 6 hours after they've washed their hands, but not specifying that it's a virus or a bacteria, it's not great. So there isn't a difference between our product and an alcohol-based product in the length of time that you protect from viruses. The length of time is the time that you actually use the product. So the actual metric you want to be using to decide which hand sanitizer you use is the contact time. How long does it take when you use it to deactivate the virus? In the case of ours, it's within 30 seconds.
Okay. John, so for the benefit of our customers, our channel followers, your customers, should I say, can you explain, actually, I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna ask that again. I can cut this out. John, for the benefit of our channel followers, can you tell us then the process of working with your company? How do they go about it, and how is that relationship going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. We've come at this from a very different look and stance. Frankly, companies that want to go back to the office, and that's actually happening a lot more now. We're seeing, the roads are much busier, the trains are much busier, and I've been out to London myself several times now. People are wanting a professional solution. What we've done is we bundled the whole thing, Andrew's Serenity Hygiene products into our hardware. Into the office space as a fully managed service. So customers it's much the same as a water machine, Linda. So if you've got, 30 years ago, people didn't have water machines in their offices, and now every single office has a water, a coffee machine, whatever machine in the office. We have the same ethos and principle in terms of how we've gone to market. And for a small weekly amounts of money, typically £7.50 we charge for a weekly fully managed service. That includes all the liquids, the full maintenance, somebody turning up if there's a problem, and a fully branded machine with a customer's logo on the front or a design of their choice. So we think we've got a really professional solution for the corporate market right now.
Yeah, so just to clarify, Serenity Hygiene and Steriport system, this is a partnership where one brings a solution to the other and to the market, an absolutely fantastic solution, which is the answer to a really big problem. And when you say about how you work with the customer, I think it is great from the point of view as it takes the onus away from their maintenance team or whoever it might be. Because that's probably an add-on for them, and you don't want it to be forgotten. I think we've all been in somewhere where we've gone to use the hand sanitizer and it's run out. So I think having a service that just takes that headache away from you is it's priceless, really. I can see why that would work really well.
Yeah, and we've had nothing but good feedback, Linda. I mean, we've done several shows over the last 4 weeks, which has been tiring, but we've spoken literally hundreds, if not maybe a couple of thousand people, and the corporate companies, the big players, really like the idea, and they can understand the logistics in dealing with hand sanitizer right now, the maintenance, the care, the cleaning, all of the things that come with it. We remove all that, so it's being really well adopted in the marketplace.
And so I think it's interesting to know how you go about talking to a company, what you need to know to work out how many stations they're going to need, because that's not an easy process, I wouldn't imagine.
It's a really interesting question, that. I had a conversation with a very large building firm just this week at the NEC Birmingham at a construction show. This particular company has 70,000 people deployed on the HS2 project. They need a mixture of things, right? They've got dog digger drivers, they've got all sorts of different construction people. Ultimately, they have outside working pods that are, they need to go into either to use the toilet or go to the office space or do whatever they do generally throughout the day. And there's a whole mixture of solutions that we bring to market with Steriport and Serenity. That's from hand sanitization in bottles. It's through to the totems that obviously are touchless totems. You've got site workers that wouldn't want a professional, expensive aluminium unit in the middle of a field. So we have solutions for that as well. So the whole thing is what we feel is end-to-end sanitization for the whole workplace, not just people in offices, but people out in the field, driving around in their cars. One particular customer, a big bus company in London, has got 1,000 bus drivers. We provide them with sustainable aluminium bottles that we refill as well as their hand sanitization Totem. So yes, we think there's a whole end-to-end solution here, which is great that we're able to provide, frankly.
Yes, and you make a very good point there. Workplaces come in all different forms, all different sizes, and of course, I know that you're dealing also with organisations that bring thousands and thousands of people through the door as well. So, Andrew, I understand it's not simply the fact that you don't use harmful chemicals in your product that supports a sustainability strategy. I know, through the Totems, that it also supports the reduction of plastic by reducing the need for plastic bottles, but obviously they are essential in some cases.
Yes, unfortunately, getting rid of plastic entirely is not quite within reach yet.
Yeah.
So we support a refilling strategy. So with the Totems, there's no need for any single-use plastic at all. With the desktop solutions, you treat it as you would a tool. You don't throw the bottle away afterwards. You just keep refilling it from a larger bottle, and then we're looking at ways that we can return those bottles so that and refill them ourselves. So it's a fully circular process.
Yeah, I can see it's quite clear from the company ethos that you're doing everything in your power. And I think that you've done an enormous amount so far, so much more than, what you can buy elsewhere. And also that you're still continuously working on it, because I think it's fair to say that there's very few companies who are operating in this space that have all the answers. None of us do. But it's a step-by-step process. And certainly you can see that you're making huge steps forward. So it's good to hear.
I think there is one more thing to say on that, which is part of sustainability is also making sure that where you source your product from, that you reduce the amount of travel time. There's no good saying you're sustainable and then importing things en masse from Australia. It's just not a sustainable solution in any respect. So for the most part, I think 99% of our sourcing now is done with UK companies. At the worst, we go as far as Israel for our textiles, for our wipes, but that's because we have no textiles industry in the UK. But almost everything that we do is now centered around manufacturing and supply chain within the UK.
Right. That you make a very good point there. Yes, where you bring it in from, the amount of miles it's cost for that product to come to the UK is a very good point. Yeah, and when you think about textile, crikey, it used to be quite an important part of the UK, didn't it, at one time? And Andrew, again, I'm going to come back to you with this, because obviously, whenever you talk about sustainability products, so many companies, the first thing that comes to mind is that's going to cost me an awful lot more. I hear that time and time again. So let's clear it up now. Cost implications.
So it's an interesting question. If you imagine a single 500 ml pump bottle of gel, what everybody's used to seeing, the various brands, if you were to put that side by side with our solution, you're going to get at least double the amount from ours than you would from that bottle of gel, which should indicate we should be charging more for it as a concentrate, but we don't. There's no need for it. From our perspective, we just want people to use this product because it's a better product, it's more sustainable, and they will get more benefit from it. So we don't price it any differently really than an alcohol product. That being said, there is some very cheap alcohol products on the market now because of the huge amount that was imported from places like China. The breweries that were given permission to just produce as much alcohol as they wanted to without any regulation, which thankfully has now stopped. So on a cost per use basis, which is the best way to work this out, you'll find that our solution works out at least half as much, but sometimes it's a quarter of the price. We did calculations based on a 500 ml gel and a 500 ml foam pump, and with typical usage, you're looking at about 5 pence per gel usage, compared to under a penny for a foam.
Right. There you go. Channel followers, you heard it here first. Being sustainable does not have to cost you more. But you know, even if it does a bit more, it's doing the right thing. But Andrew, that's fantastic. So John, I love the word totem. Can you just give us just a brief idea of what they actually look like?
Yeah. They're about waist high, made of aluminium and metal. They're very heavy when full. I know that because I have to lift them in and out of vans a lot these days. They've got a drip tray and a small dispensing nozzle, and they can be fully branded. So for example, some of our larger customers, corporates, have fully branded their machines in their own logo and colors. But we can also do exciting things like we've got a couple of machines that portray some cartoon characters, even old arcade games like Space Invaders and Street Fighter 2. We put those on totems as a fully managed vinyl wrap, and they've gone down brilliantly, especially with the younger generation, which I think is really important.
Yes.
That thinking into the younger generation, they must sanitize at all times. I think that will help them massively for the future, you know. But you could have them in any color or you know, logo you wish. But they're about waist high.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You can have them blend in with your surroundings, match your surroundings. You can have them for suit your branding, but like you say, to attract younger people to use them, that's an extremely good thing. So okay, well, I know that we were talking about smell and that, and I know that there is something which I absolutely love the sound of, Andrew. You told me about a particular fragrance that you've used and you're going to be bringing to an event that I'm going to mention in a minute. So can you tell us what that is? Because it's one of my favourite flavours from my childhood, I know that.
Yeah, it actually started out as a bit of a joke. I was busy mixing away and deciding what scented hand sanitizer I would like to release, and I started playing with the idea of sweets. So managed to mix something that essentially smelled almost pretty much identical to rhubarb and custard, and it became very popular.
Well,
Everyone loved the scent.
I'm not surprised. I love the sound of that. Okay, well, I think that's given us a really good insight into what an alternative solution that I think is a game changer really for the industry. And thank you so much, guys, for sharing that with us and joining us today on this channel. As always, we will link a copy of the website on the or below this video, so that you can check out the guys' website, find out even more than what we've been told already, and you can contact them, of course. On the 28th of October, you can see the team at the big Sustainability Expo in Southampton at St Mary's Stadium. You can talk to them, meet them in person, find out more, and you can also see their systems in action as they will be at the show, all different areas of the show, so do that. So in the meantime, thank you very much everyone for watching, or thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for the opportunity, Linda. Appreciate it, and look forward to the 28th.